Yeah, hello, I'm Mason.
Hi, I'm Haley.
We are playing a game today called Dread, and as sort of a group storytelling experience of the classic fairy tale Bluebeard. I am assuming the role of what you would call the game master. I basically control the setting, all non-player characters that Haley does not have control over, as well as all like things like antagonist events happening. I essentially create the atmosphere and the world of the story, whereas Haley is assuming the role of the female protagonist, who in this retelling is named Claire, who has recently been given the married name Beaumont. The setting that we're playing in for this retelling, as a sort of homage to the original origins of the story coming from France, we're playing in late 1920s South in Louisiana, several miles south of New Orleans. Some backstory that people should be aware of is that Claire Beaumont, she has only one family member that she has still communications with, her brother, who is a infantryman stationed at Fort Jackson several miles away. She came from sort of a middle class upbringing before her parents died, and this allowed for Claire to have some fairly good piano lessons growing up. So she's a proficient piano player, which after the death of her parents, she sort of translated into a career working as sort of a serving girl and piano player at a local bar, which is where she met Mr. Henry Beaumont, who in the town is well known as more or less like a well-to-do but slightly enigmatic man who comes from a long family, who lives on the outskirts of town in a fine estate. After a bit of a whirlwind romance of about a month, influenced heavily by Claire's sort of predisposition that women of this time period really need to marry to be successful, and her chances as she ages are drying up, has agreed to marry Mr. Beaumont.
I'm 20, by the way, so that's a little ridiculous.
20, so it's a little bit ridiculous, but, in hard times, hard decisions have to be made.
So I know nothing of the Bluebeard, it's Bluebeard, right?
Yes.
Of the Bluebeard fairy tale, so I have no idea what's going to happen or where this will go.
Right, I've given a little bit of, like, brief expository information or sort of like some origin stuff, but otherwise, yeah, like, you don't really know, as we would call it, the twist in the story. I mean, I bet you can suspect some bits and bobs, but we're both experienced role players in tabletop world, and one thing that we try not to do in this is metagaming, which is translating outside player knowledge into character actions that character would not otherwise have. I should also at this time explain that the system that we're using to roleplay this out and tell the story is a game system called Dread. It's a fairly sort of like loosey-goosey on the whole like actual hard mechanics rule. The only gameplay mechanic of note is what we have here, and you guys won't be able to see this, is a Jenga tower. It's the game with the blocks. Basically, the mechanic is that whenever Haley's character Claire will attempt an action that I, as the game master, sort of deem could result in less than satisfactory conclusion, where either like death, insanity, or just personal injury or of some sort. It basically requires Haley to, with one hand and one hand only, make a Jenga move and pull a block from somewhere in the tower and place it on the top. What this accomplishes, in my experience with this game, is it creates an atmosphere of tension and lends itself to the horror genre without having to really heavy-handedly explain that through exposition in the text itself, which for this particular retelling I think will be valuable. So
We had to start off the game because there's only one player with already pulling 12 blocks and placing them back on top. So we're starting the Jenga tower with it already being a little bit wobbly.
Right. Actually, I'm gonna take a picture of this as well and show this to the class. What we're starting out with. But yeah, like what.
Don't put me in it.
I'm not gonna put you in the shot. Yeah, more or less because this game is designed to play with multiple players and a game master. The rules call that for each player less than 5 that is playing the game, to make it more challenging for less players, is you have to basically pre-pull the tower, as Hailey was saying. So the tower itself is already looking quite precarious.
Ooh, she bumped the table.
Haley's bumping it with her foot. Already there's danger. Okay. It's just gonna get worse every time. Okay. Let's start the recording.